you're from a technical hands-on perspective, you were taught things and constantly shown how to do your job throughout your entire journey until you hit that management track, right? To your first leadership role where they're like, all right, cool. Now you're in charge of everyone else who does the job. And by the way, what I feel like, and we don't do a good job of setting people up in that environment. So you went from being a great individual contributor that got to a point in your career where you were recognized for your excellence, and now you're in charge of sharing your excellence with everyone else. And a lot of times, everyone makes this mistake, right? You jump in and you be hands on because odds are, yeah, you probably can do the job better than your team. That's why you're there. Um, so the big differentiator there is what got you here, what get you there is realizing that you need a new skill set now. I call it a lens, right? You need a new lens to look at the problems through. Your job is no longer to go fix the problem. Your job is to create an environment where your people are empowered to go fix those problems, where you're training them and instilling that in them and pushing them forward. Like it officially starts to become chess instead of checkers, right?
Mm.
Now your job is to set up the board for everyone to find success. You put yourself out of a job. Like I should be able to disappear tomorrow and my team can continue to run forward, drive, do everything they need to do. And all of my direct managers underneath me should be able to fill my role or make those decisions in autonomy without me being there. But that's a learned skill over time, right? It's not something that you just have the second you become a people leader. You've got to fail. You've got to make mistakes. I'll tell you, I learned a ton of experience from, just our short time, with having you as my troop back in the day. AJ, it was just, you figure it out. Right. But that was the telltale sign, right? There were things that were being asked. And I personally feel like as a leader, you have to stand by what you feel is right. And you can either choose to toe a line or you can choose to stand your ground. But one of them is going to get you respect and trust of your leadership. The other is going to get you respect and trust of your team and your people. My argument that I make all the time, and I'd probably get in trouble for this all the time, but I would rather have the warriors behind me than the generals behind me, right?
Yes.
When I have to go to war, I want the people who I know are going to have my back and go do the thing versus a couple politicians or whatever the case is. I'm not saying that there's not good leaders and stuff out there, but I would argue 9 times out of 10, it's harder to find a good leader than it is to find good doers. So yeah, it's a mindset shift, right? To bring it back to your question, it's taking yourself out of the equation and remembering the mission and what you're there for, right?